Hi, and welcome to Spotlight in Bensenville. My name is Frank DeSimone, Village President. Today we'll be discussing the opioid crisis with Bob Berlin, DuPage County State's Attorney, and Mark Pickley, Director of DUMEG. Guys, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you.
Bob, overdoses in DuPage County in 2017, what was the tally?
We had a total of 95 opioid-related overdoses, including 23 heroin, 32 heroin, fentanyl, 17 fentanyl, and then 23 prescription medication overdoses. And that was the same number that we had the previous year in 2016. But unfortunately, those numbers are almost double what they were in 2015.
Mark, at DUMEG, you are the front lines of the enforcement. Can you tell us a little bit about your efforts?
So what DUMEG is, for the viewers, is we are a multi-jurisdictional drug task force here in DuPage County, and Bensenville participates in the drug task force. And our goal is to disrupt the supply of illicit drugs here in DuPage County through enforcement efforts, educational efforts, both.
Bob, how does DuPage County's numbers compare to other counties like Lake or Cook?
All of the numbers have risen in all of the counties. Last year, Cook County had 1,085 opioid-related overdoses. Lake County had 80 in 2017, and Will County had 112. So unfortunately, what we're seeing here in DuPage is what's going on in all the collar counties and in Cook County as well.
What is the percentage of deaths for prescription drugs and then the illegal drugs?
Unfortunately, the illegal drugs have overtaken the prescription drugs, and it's really now over half are either heroin or heroin fentanyl. And really, the most disturbing trend is the rise of fentanyl. Not just fentanyl alone, but heroin mixed with fentanyl, and it's a deadly combination.
Mark, what are some of the countywide efforts to stem the opioid epidemic?
So what this is going to take is collaboration. So besides whether that's with law enforcement, DUMEG, for instance, working with the local agencies, working with the federal authorities, working with our sister task force in the area, because all these illicit drugs they're just not here in DuPage. They just don't come from one area. It's like a spoke. So collaboration is the key at the law enforcement level, and it's also the key to address the problem, whether it's treatment, prevention, education, all of those things.
Bob, tell us a little bit more about the correlation between prescription medication abuse and heroin abuse.
Well, there's a clear correlation between the two, and according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, 4 out of 5 heroin users were addicted to prescription pills before they began using heroin, and that is an incredibly disturbing number.
Mark, DUMEG operates between the federal and local authorities. How does that work?
So we're kind of the middle guy, as you said. So the local agencies, for the most part, deal with possession cases. Your street officers deal with possession cases. The federal authorities deal more with either national or international drug trafficking organizations, and we target the groups in the middle, whether it's the gang members working for the drug trafficking organizations. Those are most of our targets. We're in between.
And I know I kind of work with an agency similar where I'm from, but you help out no matter what the case is. If a street guy makes a stop and has a tip, I mean, they kind of refer it to DUMEG because of the resources, correct?
Absolutely.
Because
Yes.
Obviously there's more resources for
Correct,
the
and that's what we do.
Correlation of everybody.
And that's what we do full time is drug investigations. So yes, sir.
How can viewers find out more, Bob?
Viewers find out more about the problem?
Yes.
So there's a website, www.heroindupage.org, which is there's a wealth of information there on heroin, the heroin problem, and also where to go for help, where treatment facilities are, and who to call in a crisis.
We'll be right back with more Spotlight on Bensenville.
Water's Edge Aquatic Center is conveniently located in the Redmond Recreational Complex in Bensenville. The Water's Edge is home of Fenton High School and Wahoo swim teams, featuring an indoor 8-lane lap pool and diving well. The Aquatic Center is available for private functions and parties. Learn to swim, stay in shape, or enjoy recreational swimming year-round at the Water's Edge Aquatic Center.
The Bensenville Community Library, serving a community of readers. Whether you're old or young, a lover of words, music, or computers, the library has something for you. Check out our new Kindles, toddler jams, story and movie nights, or a variety of other activities offered. For more information, call us at 630-766-4642 or check out our schedule on the web at benlib.org. The Bensenville Community Library, celebrating 50 years of library service.
Hi, and welcome back to Spotlight on Bensenville. My name is Frank D. Simone, Village President. I'm here with Bob Berlin, DuPage County State's Attorney, and Mark Pickley, Director of DuPage Metropolitan Enforcement Agency, or DUMEG. Guys, welcome back from the break.
Thank you.
Bob, you have very specific views on the source of this crisis. Can you tell our viewers about the 5 suburban counties sue Big Pharma?
Sure. So in December of 2017, DuPage County, along with 4 other collar counties, filed separate lawsuits against the big pharmaceutical companies, alleging a violation of the Illinois Consumer Fraud Act and the Illinois Deceptive Practices Act, alleging that the pharmaceutical companies over the last 20 years have orchestrated a marketing campaign to market these drugs to doctors and consumers, knowing what the risks were and ignoring those risks in order to gain huge profits. That's what we've alleged in those lawsuits.
What are some examples of the deceptive practice by the drug companies?
So what we've alleged is that the defendants poured vast sums of money into generating articles, creating continuing medical education courses, also known as CMEs, and other educational materials. They also used front groups to advocate and push these drugs onto doctors and pain clinics and convince them that the long-term use was good for people, that there was really no risk involved, knowing full well that there were serious risks involved.
Now, I think that's working pretty well. I mean, I just on the news, I think recently there was one pharmaceutical company that will not send their reps into their doctor's offices to promote this.
Right. So I think it was Purdue Pharma indicated already that they're going to change their policy. The status of our lawsuit is it's been consolidated just for purposes of discovery into Cook County, and we're very confident that at the end of the day, DuPage County will be able to recoup a lot of the losses that we've had to suffer because of this crisis.
Mark, tell us a little bit about the current trend in heroin and prescription drug trafficking in our neighborhood, in our area.
So interestingly, in 2017, we saw a slight reduction of heroin cases initiated and arrests made by our group. Just a slight reduction. So I did a little bit of research, and I learned not only was that the case here in DuPage County, but pretty much across the state. And There was also a slight reduction in the number of heroin submissions to both the DuPage County Crime Lab at the Sheriff's Office and the Illinois State Police Crime Labs throughout the state. What that signifies, I don't really know. I think it's too early to say. One slight year of reduction probably doesn't start a trend, but we can hope that maybe it's going in the right direction. The unfortunate side of that was heroin was reduced a little bit, but fentanyl is on the increase.
And why do you think fentanyl? Is it just a cheaper way to kind of get the effects of heroin?
Well, it is. It's a synthetic opioid similar to heroin, and it takes a lot of effort, labor, money to produce heroin. You have to grow it, you have to harvest it, you have to process it, and ship it. Fentanyl in a warehouse or a decent-sized room, get a couple of illicit chemists together, and you avoid a lot of manpower, a lot of real estate needed, everything else. It's
and unfortunately
cheaper.
more profit.
Correct.
Much of DuMeg's efforts are focused on trafficking down the dealers. Tell us a little bit about those operations.
So most of our cases are initiated through local agencies. Again, maybe a possession case initiated by a local officer, or suspicious activity surrounding homes or businesses, and we're brought into it. So our goal is to work that case up to the highest level of within the organization for the dealers or drug trafficking organizations, also to the highest level of criminal charges for prosecution.
What are some of the changing demographics of heroin use?
In the 1960s and 70s, you saw heroin mostly in the very poor communities as a drug of choice. It was dirty, you needed a needle, you had to cook it to get the impurities out of it before you injected it. It's changed so much. Now heroin is very pure. The stigma of using a needle is gone. You can snort it, you can smoke it. So you're seeing it in all demographics across every income level, every neighborhood. It's readily available. It's much cheaper than it was, decades ago, and it's stronger. It's more potent.
Gentlemen, how do we balance law enforcement with treatment?
Well, I think we have to make the distinction between dealers and users or addicts. And the research is clear that when we're dealing with users and people who are addicted to heroin and these opioids, we need to get them into treatment because that's what works. Incarcerating them for a year or two really does no good because they come out with the same problem. But when we talk about drug dealers, it's a whole different story. And we are and will continue to aggressively investigate, arrest, and prosecute drug dealers, not only for dealing the drugs, but for the consequences of their dealing when someone dies using the drug-induced homicide statute.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Again, let's get on the forefront of this because there's way too many deaths and problems. I'm fully behind the fight on drugs. Obviously, I do it every day in the other job. Nothing but respect for what you guys do. I know it's not easy. I know you got your hand full with that task force. You guys are always busy. Nothing but respect for you guys. I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate you guys talking to our viewers. And if there's anything our village can do, obviously we will do for everybody. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you guys for joining us out there. See you next time on Spotlight in Bensenville.